This is the Iteration 2 video for Project Lavender. My name is Olivia.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Matt.
I'm Xavier.
So our project is an application that implements a daily journal and questionnaire to log user habits and well-being. The application allows users to view trends in their daily routines and habits that may alter their mood. The application will be available both online or offline and offer the user a versatile but private journal-like experience.
So a short description of what we've accomplished during this iteration is basically transferring the database from an actual server to Google's Firebase API system. We've also started to use Python's Flask API system for web development. This will allow the users to interact with the application that we make when it's in its final product. Probably the biggest change that we've experienced so far is the quarantine, or the whole global pandemic. It's required us to work remotely and communicate and coordinate with a lot more accuracy on what we're going to be doing throughout our project. We also set up a new prototype to test the Firebase system, and we set up a Flask web application with basic user features, which right now contains a skeleton of our project's features, but will later be integrated with the Firebase itself.
So today we're going to present the prototype that we made to demonstrate the database interacting with the Firebase system. So essentially, we can create a new user here, and just as a test, we put in some extra data here, which is like a phone number, and then the password. So this is basically the typical kind of creating account method you see in most websites. And as we can see here in our database, a new user object is created here, and we can see all the information, not the password though, just the information. The password is handled by the Firebase authentication system. So now we can see here the welcome Bob Smith. And we have a little menu here, and we can view his questions. And clearly, he doesn't have any questions. He's not a regular user. We can try to answer questions. There's no questions there, so we can go ahead and make a question. So, for example, we can start with what is your favorite color, and now we can answer the question. So what is your favorite color? It's blue today. Okay, now we can press V to view, and we can see that the question has been answered. And we also save here within the database. We can see the question being saved is what is your favorite color, and the timestamp along with that. So and it reflects here on our live application that same data, and we can see the answer that he just did is right here, blue, in the current timestamp. So we can make another question. For example, how do you feel? And now we see here another question has been added to this user. How do you feel? And we can answer that question once again. It'll ask us the first question, like kind of going through the list of questions that the user already has in place. So we'll say green this time. How do you feel? Very good. And now we can see how do you feel has been answered here. It's got very good, and we can see that there's a new entry here under our initial question, which is green. And that shows that this is the live application working successfully, talking to the database, and we can play back all of our data we just entered right here. What is your favorite color, along with the timestamps and the responses. And just to demonstrate, we can exit and rerun our application, and we can say no, we're not a returning user. We can go Gmail, password, right? And login successful, and we are logged into the same user we were just interacting with. We can view his responses, and they're exactly the same. So here we can clearly see that there's we've kind of migrated from our previous like SQL version onto the Firebase version pretty successfully, using its architecture of a kind of JSON format. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
So this is what we have for our current Lavender UI. We have some dummy database calls right here that picks up some data that our user would have entered. And right now we have two pages. We have a home page and we have an about page. The HTML for the home page is right here. And the HTML for the about page is right here. And both of these home and about page inherit from this layout HTML, which is in our templates document. And when we run the code, and then it'll spit out just a localhost for right now. And we'll copy this and put that into our URL, and it should pop up. So here is the home page that we have right now. And this is the home and the about page that I was talking about. This is a home page, and when we click, we can go to the about page. And although there isn't any code attached to it right now, that's what we're going to focus on later when we start attaching the database to the front end. So initially, when we are going to start developing the UI for this project, we were going to use Django, but because of the simplicity of Flask, we decided to go with that instead. It also integrates with Python very well, and it's much easier to learn because there's a lot of documentation about it online, and so that's what we went with. Additionally, we were going to have an SQL database, but we had trouble implementing that in Python and really getting it to run with a web browser. So we decided to use Firebase, which is a web-based database. So it's already on the web, and it's also easier to integrate as well. So that's what we've changed about our project so far.
So for the next iteration, we want to link the database to the web application so that it can actually store users' account information and questionnaire entries and send that data back to the user interface. We'll also keep expanding the web application to allow user input, other web pages that might be needed, and just any other remaining functional requirements. We'll also keep improving the design of the user interface with colors and overall page layout. And then we also hope to implement some data analysis, for example, graphs that display the user's data. And that's it.